My name is Douglas Massi, and I want to thank you guys for checking out our YouTube channel, Final Expense Trainer, where our videos are all about final expense sales training and are all based on final expense sales topics. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and hit the little subscribe button, and better yet, if you'd like to be notified every time we put out a new video, go ahead and click on that little bell-looking thing that's right next to the subscribe button. Now in this video, what I'm going to do is share with you a lot of the little things that I do in my final expense sales presentation that separates what we do from all the other insurance agents that these folks are seeing. Coming up after this. Guys, if you're new to final expense sales or just new to our industry, I highly recommend checking out the playlist called Basic Training. Now, hold on a second. You don't want to do that until you've already finished this video. But once you've completed it, just go to our playlists and click on Basic Training and let it roll. You're going to see that the videos in that playlist cover all the basics, and you're probably going to get more training from there than you do from your current upline. Something that I believe to be very important, whether we're dealing with seniors or it really doesn't matter who you're dealing with, is first impressions. Now, what I like to do is wear a ID badge around my neck. The ID badge that I have, it has the company logo on it, and it also has a picture of me with my license number on it. I think this kind of looks very professional for a first impression. But really what's most important is the way you dress and the way you look. It's important to be groomed, clean cut. What I like to do is wear very comfortable dress shoes, a nice pair of slacks, and I wear a long sleeve shirt to kind of protect myself from the environment, because sometimes, unfortunately, we do end up in some houses that are, well, a little bit dirty, maybe not the neatest. Every now and then you'll even end up in someone's house that has some type of insects crawling around. There's nothing wrong with wearing a polo shirt, or even for the ladies to wear maybe like a skirt or something. I highly recommend for the ladies to wear basically the same clothes as the guys do. To me, being protected is kind of important. Long sleeves, long pants, that's going to save you from getting maybe bitten or end up catching some type of, I don't know, so you'd be surprised as to what you can catch from going into a filthy house. In the presentation that I use, during that first part of the presentation, what I like to do is right off the bat find the need and talk about the need for the insurance and the beneficiary and do all that. While I'm doing that, one of the things that I like to do is make some type of physical contact with the client. And what I simply do is just kind of reach over while I'm talking and just tap their arm, their shoulder, or even their leg, depending on what angle they are from me, whether they're sitting next to me or across from me. I find that making this type of physical contact actually lets them know that you're secure with yourself and what you're doing. Showing strength in a presentation is very important. One of the things we definitely want to do is let the client know that we are very confident and know what the heck we're doing. By letting your prospect know that you're confident and comfortable, this is actually going to start the process of getting them to lower their security wall. You know what I'm talking about, guys. That wall that they have up against anyone that enters their home and tries to sell them something. So we want them to lower that wall as soon as possible, and that's why, you know, one of the first things I do is try to make that little bit of contact, let them know that I'm strong, secure, that I'm okay, I'm comfortable with myself. And I think that tends to, if done correctly, let them start to feel comfortable right off the bat. Once you've found the need and you have spoken about the beneficiary, what I think is important to do is to share a little personal commercial about yourself. The idea of this personal commercial is to let them know who you are, where you come from. The trick is to really design your commercial to where it weaves right into the whole presentation. So the idea is to share a little bit about yourself, you know, what you used to do, where you come from, as to how it pertains to what you're doing right now in order to help them with their final expense life insurance. The better you are at storytelling, the better your personal commercial is going to be. And there's nothing wrong with making this, a 5 or even 10-minute part of your presentation. Either way, I really suggest that you do this because when it's done correctly, it can actually make a big difference in getting those folks to lower that wall. It's extremely important to let your prospect know that what you're doing is special and that you are different and unique. What I do is simply let them know that I don't work for a life insurance company. And I weave it into my commercial. I let them know that, Mrs. Jones, I used to work for a life insurance company, and if I still did that today, I'd be limited on the products that I could show you. By doing it that way, what happens is you end up paying more. So that's why what we do is completely different, Mrs. Jones. I'm actually with a group of senior advocates licensed here in Florida, and the bottom line is that by being part of this group, what that simply means is that I have access to all the final expense life insurance carriers that are competitive that we would want to use. That's how I'm going to guarantee some of the best rates that you're ever going to see, Mrs. Jones. And by the time we're done, I'm going to make sure that no one comes in your front door and gives you a better deal on your whole life insurance. Once I mention the whole life insurance, what I do is I pull out that little card that talks about the benefits of whole life insurance, and I simply go over it real slowly and make sure that they understand exactly what this is. We want to make this special and differentiate what we're doing with those companies they see on TV. So what I do is I explain to them the difference between these graded benefits and the term life insurance that in most cases, the price goes up during the term and then it terminates at the end of the term. By doing it this way, once I pivot to final expense insurance and explain to them that the price doesn't go up, I think it actually helps to let them feel secure that what they're getting is exactly what they need for their burial. By the time you're done reading the guarantees of whole life insurance, there's no humanly possible way that your prospect isn't going to know exactly what this product does. The next thing that I do in my presentation is go ahead and pull out my medical questionnaire and go over all the medical questions and make sure that we get all their medication written down. This is when I'll generally ask them to go ahead and grab your reading glasses for me while I am pricing out or at least figuring out which carrier I'm going to use. I want them reading and staying busy. What I do is I have a card with two things on it. On one side, it has I am your policy, and on the other side, it has the 8 reasons seniors purchase final expense plans. So what I simply do is have them read it. This keeps them busy, it keeps them entertained, and by the time they've read it, there's no doubt in their mind what I'm there for. This also gives me time to figure out which carrier I'm going to use, what the prices are, and write out all the different options. By doing some of the things that I just went over in this video, you're going to find it a lot easier when it comes to closing. You're going to have fewer objections to overcome because during this whole presentation, you should have built a lot of rapport and convinced your client to lower that security wall that they originally had up at the beginning of the presentation. If you're doing this correctly, you're going to come off as a clean-cut professional who really knows their shit. And then when you go to close, they're simply going to pick an option. At least that's the ideal outcome, of course. Guys, if you don't already have a system set up to overcome any objection that's thrown your way, you need to get a hold of me. This is where the advanced training program that our contracted agents have access to is going to save your butt and come in handy every time. The ideal of having access to advanced final expense training is so that you know how to react to any objection. That's one of the most important things that any insurance agent should be able to do, overcoming objections. For information on our final expense sales program, which includes some of the highest commissions in the industry and access to the most intensive and extensive sales training you can get, oh, and don't forget about the leads. I firmly believe that our lead program is second to none. Go ahead and shoot me an email at doug@ufesonline.com. Happy hunting!